For plebs, by plebs, dropping the Bitcoin only signal. Pleb Underground. Welcome everyone to the Pleb Underground.
Welcome back to Pleb Underground. This is episode 54. After the show, go late to the pub. After, take slow, just take some grub. Time preference is low, more reference, not slow. I get more deference, I know. Taste the best sense I show. Bitcoin protocol, it's the fairway. Grab a bag and use the drivers. She likes it rough and on the stairway. Holds her breath like scuba divers. Build a beautiful garden to attract a butterfly. You don't want one transact and flutter by. Fluttery eyes, tiny frame with beautiful wings. Privacy maxi, windows closed when she sings. Be kind to each great woman is the action of every great man. A Bitcoin, a bird or woman is worth twice in the hand. She comes thrice with the hand. You wouldn't understand. Keep counting hands. Blackjack. Jack Black's hands. Like the coins in a wallet, I'm always unspent. When you sin all day, can you ever repent? Everything in moderation, except in Lent. Gotta make a mark, engrave, indent. Love to write while on my travels. Just love, no fight or else it unravels. Lust. Love's a bite, the dress unravels. I'm the highest bidder, there were no gavels. Hard cap stays in place. Barred lap, bays in place. Why draw a picture when you can write 1,000 words? Why draw, win, pick her, split 23 into thirds? How many pieces? Taste sweet like Reese's. Spin around until you've had plenty, then one more spin. It's 420. MC at TABconf and it's a full house. Poker Friday night, not quite like a mouse. Sponsored drinks from ZBD, THC on the balcony. Playing poker with Mr. Peachy. I talk a lot but never preachy. Unlike governmental overreachy, county on effect is super leechy. Take her everywhere, every facet. Proof of work, no second best asset. Extraordinary behind, that's ass ET. Always in the gym, I'll be her PT. Take an elective, take time to be reflective. Let the light shine and reflect. Learn to improve and not defect. Bear market building, corn harvest, fielding, new questions. Always respondent. Sustainable practices, not to get despondent. New thoughts to write about, no filter but not without. Analysis and critiquing, not nearly peaking. Steal a look peeking to reveal the hook. Then unclip with one hand, you wouldn't understand. No space in this game, move over. I'm blowing up like a supernova. New planetary formation, new planet ascendant. Wide eyes, dilation, temporarily helpful like a flight attendant. Like the manners, like the P's and Q's. Always a fan of when I give the P to Q. Deal with moguls, SKIP the Q. She's at the front, LIP's the Q. No dress reuse, can't use it twice. I'm still colder, but not ice. Tell them twice, put them on notice. Always hit it, I never miss. Find the girl that's worth the test. You like her hair, that's a pull request. Running light mode, head from the server. PR's in the gym, how's that for a left curver? I'm not talking IQ, it's about how I hang. She keeps coming back, viral like gang. Nam style, she looks good on the screen. Liquidity sucked up until I'm super clean. Rhymes, proof of work, crafted by an artisan. County on effect, bad for all like bipartisan. Part the Red Seas like I'm Moses. Life is like a box of roses. So they keep running, I can't stop punning. Shoulders back, chin to God, she's beautifully constructed. Ready for prod. Always disagreeing, perhaps a contrarian. If I had blonde hair, then I'd be a hung Aryan. What is home? Centralized serenity. Got a nip and some bud. Decentralized identity. Fiat Jaff and others building Noster. Only sovereign kings on our roster. You remember Phil and Walton? We're like Chong and Cheech. Smoky trees, and I don't mean beach. I got more bars than Miami Beach. Saved by the bell. No need for screech. Stack some B, rack an ounce. Get a girl with the perfect bounce. Welcome back. This is Pleb Underground.
Pleb Underground, Robbie P, Collabo, let's go, yeah, check it. They wanna go cashless like no cheddar. Looking at the CBDCs, I see the whole setup. Talk about a house of cards, got me so fed up. If I had to choose BTC, be a go-getter. Why not any others? Disregard the rubbish. Crypto graveyard is derelict. You don't get a Mona Lisa without that fit. Can't do what the feds do, Robbie for your necklace. The excess is gluttonous, death grip suffocates. I don't really care about that, we don't have enough grenades. And that's a dollar bill priority, and everyone falls for it, doesn't fail to still amaze. I'm from the crib like a creature in the mud. Swift salesman, sell you anything, long as I could greet you with a hug. Convince you that anything wrong with my product is a feature, not a bug. Our ICO had a hella large liquidity that if we were to dump at 300 X's on the pump, liquidate the pools and the dexes when we exit out the junk, we'll get you out the funk. Chances are the SEC won't tighten up nothing. You did not get scammed. Maybe you got scammed, sucker. Crypto Vegas is not Bitcoin status. You got microwaves for Faraday cages. Hot, I let it marinate for ages. My stop loss average, 10% negated. My swing trades move markets. Research your chart, change tracks with pants, set yourself some new targets. Best to know how I did it, cause you got locked out quick. My two-factor is I don't know how I did it. I just logged out rich. Tailor-made suit is what I walked out with. And who am I? That Oz Pleb rapper where overseas peeps say he raps so slick. Took the glossary, condensed that shit. I prescribed them for them orange pill hits. Busted, the TOS hates that I'm on here. Financial advisory stickers on my content. Shadow ban, try to cancel the man, cause they can't tolerate Bitcoin currency nonsense. It's either that or keep it big to the dollar. Dumb, stupid, old boomer, egotistical scholars. They try to stole my overall performance. If inside's mind control, outside's warfare. The older I get, the more hot my bars get. Flame emoji, boy, I'm doing this well. Flow like oceanic swell. Oblivious to peeps who hoping that we fail. Fuck 'em. Corporate Bitcoin. Fuck 'em. Yeah. Thanks again for having me, guys. I really appreciate being on the show. I've been watching you guys since Need Creations was on and gone back and watched a couple other episodes. I like where you guys are at with the underground vibes. Much props.
And really appreciate it, dude. And plebs, Bitcoiners. If you don't know who we've got here, we've got fellow Bitcoiner and pleb, Robbiep808x. And Robbie, as you guys saw, got some serious freaking rhymes, man. So good job. Very, very good job. And guys, we are going to move it on over to the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers, of course, brought to us by Time Chain Stats and Time Chain Calendar. And what was very cool, so last week I was in Atlanta at TABconf, helping them out, and we had a Time Chain Calendar was on main stage, showing each new block as they came in, you know, behind debates and that sort of thing. It was very cool to see. And of course, I was repping my Pleb Underground t-shirt proudly on main stage on that final day as well.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, let's dive into it, guys. Here we go. At the time of this recording, the block height is 807,860. The Bitcoin Fiat exchange, Fiat Bitcoin exchange, whatever, 26,427 on the nose. Public Lightning capacity, 4,829.90. Moscow time, 3784. Fastest fee, 19 sats per VByte. And
so,
yeah,
one, fucking shitcoiners, man. Two, hash rate seems to keep going up. So either the miners are fucking retarded, or there is money to be made in this thing called Bitcoin.
Well, I'll tell you this: the chain rewrite days is 748. So, yeah, pretty good. All of this is good, and it's true. The hash rate, I think, what was it today? We reached 570. What was it? 573 exahashes.
I don't know, but just the trend in that graph just looks like so solid. Okay, yeah, there's variation because you get the seasonal variation and in energy production or whatever it is. But essentially, there's a solid trend in hash rate.
Up and to the right.
It always cracks me up to the right because time doesn't go left, guys. It's always going to go to the right. It's up or down. It's going to the right.
Number go up. I think it hit an all-time high recently. The hash rate, did it not? Like it just.
I think so. Like some obscure like 560 or something, wasn't it?
So guys,
I don't even know what the bloody numbers mean, but it's good indicators.
What we're experiencing right now is the miner death spiral. This is exactly what's happening, right? And we're experiencing the miner death spiral as the hash rate goes up. I don't know about you guys, but for the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing a lot of bullshit narratives, like the security budget, right? Like you see the typical shitcoiners. What about Bitcoin's security budget? What's going on there? What's going to happen in 40 years from now?
So this, yeah, and it's either fees are never going to be high enough, or they're too much.
We can't win. We can't win. And it doesn't matter because in either of those scenarios, we have the minor death spiral, and only drive chains can fix this. So
I mean, if you use the word spiral in it, people, it sounds smart because it's not a circular thing. So it's, you know, there's some progress, but is it positive? Is it negative? No one knows. There's some mystery to spirals, maybe. You add the word death, it adds some drama. You know, death spiral. Okay, that you've immediately got someone's attention. It's shitcoin marketing. Let's be honest.
Bingo.
That's for
You hit-
But flipped, right? So instead of it being a hopium thing, it's like you're gonna get wrecked. It sounds, maybe Magoo came up with this term, death spiral.
I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. But I think you're absolutely right. And adding that term spiral to it just makes it sound like they might know what they're talking about, right? They just might know what they're talking about. I don't
it's the
think they
kind of
do.
thing you hear from an expert on the news. It's in a spiral, something or other.
Right? And then people listening are like, he's pretty smart. So
He's an expert.
anyways.
He's an expert.
Yeah, but so many experts. All right, guys, let's take a look at our numbers for the day here. I've got
I think
one
it also allows for variation, right? Like
Of course it allows for
I think
variation.
You can get away with some stuff by it being a spiral rather, you know, it's not up and to the right. Well, it's going round and round a bit, you know. Who knows?
There's a bit of plausible deniability to it, isn't there, as well? It's a death spiral. What does that mean? Like Jordan Peterson, what does that mean?
It's the bullshits, right? It's the range of bullshit. It just you've got a good space there, you know? All right, let's take a look at these numbers, guys. Not gonna lie, gold bag holders might be a little wrecked and a little bit salty about this one. Okay, so here we go. This is a tweet from @CooliganFields. It's a no-brainer, and I know gold bugs will definitely be like, you're cherry picking the timeline, but unfortunately we can't go back before 2009. So, but here we go. If $1, if we put in gold and Bitcoin in 2009, I don't even know, who could you buy Bitcoin from in 2009? I don't think you could. I think you could only mine it. So maybe, I don't know. I don't even think you could put a buck, but let's say a buck worth of your laptop CPU power. Anyways, okay, gold 2009, a buck. In 2023, you'd have $1.90. All right. And Bitcoin, 2009, 2020, a buck. 2023.
What's the price of a Big Mac done between 2009 and 2023? Has it doubled? Because I think that would be an interesting like comparison to like run it. You know, does gold buy you more Big Macs over time? Because certainly, if you go to timechainstats.com, you can see how many Big Macs whole Bitcoin will buy you today. I don't know what index they use for that, but I think that's maybe only US prices. But yeah, certainly track the price of Big Macs over time globally.
Over the quarter pounder.
Provides a pretty good insight into kind of how the world is doing. Usually, the Big Mac is kind of priced according to the country, and so you can actually use it as a good track of inflation globally.
I would say that there's a quarter pounder index somewhere.
All right, so that I think Robbie brings up the obvious question: Big Mac or quarter pounder?
Quarter pounder meat, Big Mac.
Very nice. Okay, wait. What about this? Have you ever done the Big Mac sauce on a quarter pounder?
Ooh, no.
Yeah, you could do crazy shit like that. McDonald's lets you, they let you pick your poison. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Walton, you're muted.
He's muted again.
I personally think you should just cook your own food because it sounds like some Fiat nonsense, guys.
It is Fiat.
Does that mean I never eat?
We're gonna go back to on veggie.
No, but I do increasingly like avoid it because I don't know. You just feel gross the next day. It's just like I think it's the seed oil start leaching into your circulatory system, and it just goes. Oh, you just feel the you do feel inflammatory. I've come up with this concept. There's this chronic inflammatory Fiat syndrome. Is the term I'm calling it. And you basically see all these people suffering from it, and they're all just kind of grumbly, kind of goblin type, like normies, like NPCs, and they consume too many seed oils, and they're just like, they move around, and they're just like a bit brain dead. They're the primary reason there's traffic, because they don't think properly, like, they don't look after their children properly, they're just... they're just turning into giant Big Macs, and they need to, you know, like cut their use of seed oils and dramatically increase the amount that they're exercising, and you know, and do other positive changes to their life and adopt Bitcoin, and you know, etc., etc. But seed oils, bad. Avoid.
Okay.
Thank you.
Guys, what do you think? Let us know in the show notes. Are people turning into Big Macs? Like, sorry, not in the show notes, in the comments. Are people turning into Big Macs as Walton suggests? Or are they turning into quarter pounders with Big Mac sauce? We don't know. Maybe they're turning into quarter pounders with McChicken
This is
sauce.
the sauce. Pleb Underground, you heard it
Yes,
first.
right. All right, guys, this wraps up the numbers. And we are going to move on over to the Fireside Chat. The Fireside Chat is brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out at ciphersafe.io. You've got to store your seed, and paper is just not going to do it. Check out the Cipher Grid that comes with an awesome little punch tool at ciphersafe.io. If you appreciate fine craftsmanship made by Bitcoiners, check out the Bitcoin Rouleau Triangle, made of 16 ounces of solid titanium, 4x4x4. It's a really nice artsy piece made by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Check it out, the Bitcoin Rouleau Triangle at ciphersafe.io. All right, guys, welcome back. And here we are, the Fireside Chat. Walton and I have got fellow Bitcoiner and rapper. We've got Robbiep808x that's joining us, and that's right, guys, he's in the hot seat for the Fireside Chat. And before we dive into it, we're just going to take a look at some of his work, actually some of his earlier work. Here we go.
Hey, pay attention on how I break this Bitcoin slang down. Check it, a Bitcoin is a currency, blockchain is technology, transactions take place on it constantly. A public key is your address, private key is your access, cash is trash, but a Bitcoin is an asset. And stacking sats is like accumulating gold. A market order sold, the hodl is the hold. A confirmation is that the transaction is back, the verification intact with minus proof of work. Thanks to
Yeah, so guys, if you like some great Bitcoin rap, you're definitely going to want to check out Robbiep808x. Robbiep808x, thank you so much for joining us on the Pleb Underground. And before we dive into why you started to create specifically Bitcoin rap, tell us a little bit about the rabbit hole story.
The Bitcoin rabbit hole story. Heard about Bitcoin at $2. We wanted to buy $1,000 worth, and it was too hard to get money in the Mt. Gox. So since then, I've been vindicated in my confidence with a $10 million loss. It's education that cost me $10 million at this point in Australian dollar terms. Really, you know, so because it was myself and another individual, we were going to go halves in it. They told me about it. A week later, I heard about it again on a YouTube channel and went down the rabbit hole because I'm very anti-government. I was like, yes. And then since then, I learned more about economic stuff. I got all the books here, Robert Kiyosaki, Intelligent Investor, because back in 2009, when my ex-partner fell pregnant with our daughter, I started thinking, like, what am I supposed to do as a man to provide for the family? And I learned everything I could about investing, and then later discovered Bitcoin. So when I finally discovered Bitcoin, I had some of the fundamentals down pat, value investing, like Benjamin Graham, the intrinsic value of like Warren Buffett's approach, even though he's like just outdated now with all his stuff. You know, he sticks to Coca-Cola and that's about it. But for me, I've always liked technology. I used to grow up watching the sci-fi stuff on TV. And finally, Bitcoin was something that spoke to me in regards to voting with my dollar instead of voting with a bloody pencil at the booth, which can be rubbed out, or whoever wants to do whatever they want with it. So since then, I've boycotted voting, and I just vote with my money, which is the most powerful way to vote, I reckon, because people listen.
I like that, man. I like that. That is fantastic. And it's true,
man. Yeah.
right? It's absolutely right. You know, voting for whatever political party is completely irrelevant. If you want to make your vote count, you vote with your money, and specifically, we're choosing Bitcoin. So
yeah, I believe one rapper once said, what is it? I've got my mind on my money, money on my mind.
My mind on my money, and my money on my mind. Exactly, yeah.
And mo money, mo problems, although I disagree with Notorious on that one.
Yeah, it's Biggie. Yeah, that's right. More money, more problems. Well, good problems sometimes, you know.
So tell us, Robbie, why did you start doing why did you start the Bitcoin rap, doing Bitcoin raps?
Bitcoin rap because I was selling music for Bitcoin in 2013 on a centralized app, BitTunes, it was called. And I heard other rappers rapping about Bitcoin. And in rap, people always rap about money. And I wanted to change that. I thought if we're gonna change, like I don't like the idea of fiat money. I already from these books and from what I've read about Bitcoin in my studies, I didn't start writing songs about Bitcoin or releasing them at least until 6 years after I discovered it, if not later. But the whole time I was absorbing information, the glossary, the dictionary, everything that goes into it. And I wanted to find a way without making it cheesy to start incorporating. If I'm going to talk about money, it's going to be about Bitcoin, not the USD, not AUD, which is even worse than the USD, Bitcoin. And then I put out this track, Bitcoin Slang. Funny enough, the very first, I guess, crypto influencer that retweeted it was Richard Hart. How's that? Great crypto song. And then since then,
Yeah,
you know,
I've rhymed about him a few times. I've rhymed about Richard Hart. There's been, I can't even remember. I think you remember one though, Phil. I remember you being like, I got that one. It was a little bit encrypted.
yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
Well,
I'm
I
so
want to know
sorry,
about
Robbie.
your methods, Robbie. I want to know about your methods, because like, so I write rhymes, but I don't really, I call them rhymes, not raps. I don't do them with music. You know, they come out on PlebUnderground each week. But I'm interested in your methods. Like for me, I like trying to come up with, I don't know, play on words, puns to do with Bitcoin and other things, or homonyms and homophones. So like when you have things that you know, look the same but pronounced differently, or sound the same but look the same way, or whatever it is. I definitely didn't describe that quite right, but anyway, it doesn't matter. The point
I
is,
know what you mean.
you have these different like overlapping concepts of how you kind of link things together, or at least that's how I look at it, and I try and kind of incorporate a few of them. And but like some of the ones that I've come up with, like to me, I like this concept of dress reuse, or address reuse is bad. So like women wearing matching outfits, they really don't like that. You know, that's bad form. And address reuse, you know, is bad form in Bitcoin, right? Do you kind of come up with yeah, what's your process? Talk to me about your process. I get bits coming to me here and there. I'm walking my dog, I'm at the gym, I'm whatever, driving, I write down a couple of lines, and then like maybe it becomes 4, maybe it's 8, whatever. But yeah, here and there. Tell me about your methods.
I'd say it's similar. Like I'm driving. Usually it happens when I'm driving. I don't really listen to music when I drive. I'm listening to stuff at home, but when I drive, it's more quiet. I just riff to myself. I'll put my phone on record, and like I'll come up with things like, I wonder if I could get my right eye aligned without being unalived. And then these things start getting on the page, and I just start thinking, well, how can I map it out? And I always find working backwards to the start works best, because rap is always like setup, punch, like comedy. It's a setup and a punchline. And even if it's a 4x game, yeah.
I love that. I describe myself as a lyrical memer, because to me, like a lot of like, and this isn't true in all, you know, rap and rhyme and this sort of thing, but like to me, a lot of the guys that I like are the guys that aren't trying to be super hard, like I'm a tough man, like blah blah blah. It's the guys like taking like pot shots with like jokes here, like all over the place. To me, that like that's where the fun is to be had, and like that's, yeah, I don't know, that's what like the vibe was on Spaces. That's what, I don't know, you know, other kind of Bitcoin communities is, you know, yeah, go fuck yourself, you know. And
absolutely. Well, yeah, man, like I guess yeah, you're right on that. It's fuck, you threw me off for a second there with the Spaces part, but you know what, you're right, man. There's you come up with things on paper, it constructs itself, it builds on itself, and then the play on words, because like you could make a reference to dips, as in you're going to dip your chip in it, and then a reference to a dip in the market, correction, you know, laser eye correction,
dips
laser
in the
eye.
gym, sir. Dips in the gym.
Yeah, dips in the gym. I've got to get in the gym. I've been meaning to get in the gym. Absolutely, you know. But when you notice things in communities, like they have their own thing. I've got a book back there called Primal Branding, where it talks about like Pokemon. They've got their own lexicon of words, and if you infiltrate that community, you're going to start to see the smaller things. Because after 20 years of writing raps, you want to kind of explore different ways to play with words, and I think you're the same. You know.
You've been doing this for 20 years, did you say?
Yeah, I'm almost 40, so I
Wow.
started
So
with 15.
I started about a year ago, to be honest. Like I like the show had like, I don't know, 4, 8, 12 lines this sort of time last at the beginning of the show. By Christmas it was like 25, 30. Then mid-February I think I did my first 64, and then since then it's been between 50 and 100 lines every week.
Well, I saw the recent episode. We're sick of all the raps. Stop the raps, and you're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you guys. I don't care.
Yeah,
like,
but, you
like
know,
it was,
of
for me,
course,
it always
who gives a
has been
shit?
like, if you like it, if you don't like it, you know, you can actually skip ahead. Like it's quite clear on YouTube unless you're like seriously like
man.
left
People-
curve. Like
come
you
on.
can't actually see the like little gap on the thing. Like jump ahead, sir. Like, you know, like ads jump ahead. Like you do what you want to do.
Of course.
You know, do
Well, if
complain
people
about
didn't
it,
like
go in the
it-
comments.
Well, I was gonna say, if people didn't like it, they would, when they scroll through that timeline, they would see the big jump when it actually gets into the show. You don't see that. People like the raps. I like the raps, and I've seen over the episodes they increase in length, which is just awesome. You know, I think you got a skill set there for wordplay, and you've been cultivating it, and I think it's working to your advantage and for the show's advantage. So well done.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like, I think one of these things is you have to, and I think this is it embodies true pleb culture, is you're building stuff and you don't really give a fuck what other people think, because that's really what Bitcoin's about, is trying to build something positive and not really giving a fuck what other people think. To me, that's the essence of Bitcoiner culture, right? Like trying to build a family, trying to build a business, trying to build a platform, and not giving a fuck what other people think. You know, build. You know, for me, some of the rhyming is about just me processing my week, and that was something I didn't do before. Like some of it is, you know, me having a little fun. Like some of it is, you know, there's different aspects to it, but yeah, you got to. I think with the reason why I feel like I'm building sustainably with it is because it's for me, and I don't really care. I appreciate other people liking it, and yeah, of course it adds, you know, motivation, adds fire, but like you got to, I think. And I don't like the term artist, but this is kind of as an artist, it sounds so gay. As an artist, like the at the core, you've got to believe in whatever you're trying to, you know, create.
Your angle as an artist is like it's poetry, but it's on the borderline of, like, you know, traditional poetry and leaning very heavily into like a cappella rap. I'd love to see what you would do over a beat with some like restriction in the bars, because that's where you can really get creative and you can really break down the puzzle, like, you know, like the full true lyricists, like, you know, the greats like Eminem or Kendrick or whoever. You know, I find that stuff's fascinating for sure. Give it a go, man.
Don't forget.
So like,
beats.
for me, I'm trying to find, the issue I have is trying to find like the right kind of beats, because I like, I don't know, I like, do you know Logic?
Yeah.
Or I don't know how much the UK scene you like there's a guy called Kano who I think is fantastic from I don't know, the last 20 years or something, but these are kind of, yeah, I think more Joker type. I think MF Doom is amazing as well. I don't know, there's a few, but Logic,
My favorite from the
one of
UK.
my biggest inspirations.
What was that? Sorry.
Logic has been one of my biggest inspirations, certainly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like Traumatic from the UK. He's been coming up on my radar.
Maybe a girl here and there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that for, you know, what you said before about having fun, Walton, it's a very good point, right? Like, we were taught to be serious, and really our nature is playfulness. As human beings, right? We are taught that all of a sudden reality is this straitjacket serious affair. And that's not really our nature, you know? So to a certain extent, it's like, yeah, let's have fun and let's try to do something different. And
that's,
you know,
what she said.
Let's just enjoy ourselves, right? There you go. All right. So Robbie, tell us about the future. what does Bitcoin, what does Robbie have in store for Bitcoin? We were talking about this a little bit before. You gave some hints about a podcast possibly. What's going on?
Like, I became born again Christian in April, and so since then things have been really like crazy for me in terms of like a little bit of cognitive dissonance with my worldview. And so at the moment, I'm just trying to recalibrate again. But long term podcast, long term, continue to release music. I'll be doing it to the day that I die. So my plan is to just build and foster, I guess, a legacy artist brand, and by aligning with Bitcoin with 100 years of mining ahead of it, some kid in 2040 is going to turn 18. He's going to go down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, come across you guys and me, and our legacies are solidified with alongside Bitcoin. And I think I used to always have this idea, and it's the craziest thing, but to want to be remembered for 300 years after I die. And the reason I thought of that was because if you aim for the stars, you'll land on the moon. But now it's more like I want to do everything I can in the name of Jesus Christ. So when people think of me, they think of him. And then at the same time, Bitcoin's in there at some point, because my whole theory is in God's kingdom on earth, we don't use Federal Reserve notes. We need money in God's kingdom. And I consider that to be Bitcoin.
I have a theory that if Bitcoin existed when Jesus was there, that actually Christianity would actually have developed much better across the world, because you wouldn't have had the centralizing nature of gold, and therefore you wouldn't have had the centralizing nature that was the Catholic Church, and you could have had maybe decentralized morals and values and principles with the money. But if you don't have the money, you can't have that truly, and so therefore you can't have faith without religion. My biggest issue with it is that centralized religion often is corrupted. Now, is that the religion, or is that corruption within something that doesn't have that? People say the same about politics. Are the institutions corrupted, or is it the individuals? I don't know where you draw the lines.
I draw the line is that
are the institutions.
Yeah. You know, I did a reaction today that I posted on Twitter. There's a guy named Pastor Coin from Canada, and he was talking about, climate change being a religion. And I made an expression that when you have religion is when God has left the building. I feel like that religion, the God, connecting with God is a one-on-one thing. There's fellowship and brotherhood. This whole masculinity talk that's happening in the red pill space right now has all got to do with brotherhood and fellowship. As far as religion and like a dogma, I'm leaving that at the door. And I feel like in the Bitcoin space, there is that religious aspect in it. But I think the idea of Bitcoin saving us, for me, I used to think that too, like most Bitcoiners. But at this point now, I think Bitcoin's more of a tool. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Bitcoin is a tool of freedom, and specifically, like a lot of us, I know we'd get some pushback on this, but really at the end of the day, Bitcoiners, right, are freedom maximalists. And that's the key. Bitcoin is the best tool we have for monetary freedom and to be able to store our value across space and time without censorship or without the government fucking with us. So, you know, like we are at heart freedom maximalists, and it is the best tool.
This feels like a very good time to move on to REKT, because I feel like some
it is a good time to,
with the next section.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot of synergies with the and Hopium. All right, that's right, guys. This wraps up our fireside chat with Robbiep, and we are moving on over to REKT.
Up next, we have REKT, sponsored by Represent. Represent are a Bitcoiner-owned clothing brand based out on the west coast of the United States. If you head over to representltd.com, you can find their wide range of excellent apparel and accessories. Stylish, comfortable, and well-fitting. These garments will last you a long time, and you can get things almost as cool as these, very limited edition Taco PlebUnderground Represent shirts. If you want something like this, then you need to actually come to an event. If you want to get something nearly as cool, you go to representltd.com and use the code PlebUnderground to get a discount on all of the goodies. Welcome back to REKT. Of course, who's first? Well, it's the marketing wrapper for a whole bunch of shitcoinery that, you know, sell a Bitcoin only brand and charge you 1%. Of course, that's your favorite, you know, sponsor of basically most Bitcoin media except for Pleb Underground, because we're the only people that told them to fuck off when they offered us money. Why? Because we try to have sponsors that don't in any way, shape or form have any potential to get our viewers, listeners wrecked. Now, some people let these fuckers give them money, and these fuckers are not vertically integrated. They you know, they're a marketing wrapper. They do some, you know, they do some sales, they do some hand holding for VIPs, right? But what they really do, they just direct you to have some Bitcoin being held by shitcoiners, and what happens? Well, eventually the shitcoiners rug, or just they've been hacked, there's incompetence, you know, some whatever it is, there's some bullshit, and then they have to keep moving. Oh, sorry, I muted someone's account here. Yeah. They have to keep moving, you know, custodian, because their custodian is wrecked, and then there's always some extra little move that doesn't get announced until after the announcement, right? So it's the big announcement this week was, Swan are going to be their own custodian with BitGo. There's some new joint venture, but actually they're going to go from Fortress to Backed, and then the joint venture, which is yet to be approved by anyone or anything, right? I genuinely think, like, a couple of years ago, when to me Swan started being on the scene, and on the scene for me was on Clubhouse, seemingly everyone was telling everyone to go buy Bitcoin on Swan. I think, like, who are these Swan? I've never heard of them. And then it turned out they were paying Neil Jacobs and a couple other people to open rooms on Clubhouse and promote Swan. They've been very good at guerrilla marketing in the Bitcoin space. And they've certainly been very good at building a Bitcoin only brand, right? And they they do encourage self custody. They do have some good educators in their team, but ultimately, their behavior with this cloak of Bitcoin only is increasingly being shown to be, well, not doing due diligence. So they're undermining don't trust, verify. And it's just showing to be kind of the same as what a lot of the shitcoiners do. And I think we need to, you need to separate yourself, especially if you're going to use this kind of Bitcoin only brand. You're going to try and buy kind of pleb branding, but like for what? So that then when you fuck up, you can get bailed out by Ripple? Like, it's a joke.
All right, Robbie, I don't know if you've been following this whole saga, but if you have any comments, if you'd like to shoot in right now, I'll provide something after.
Yeah. I mean, this has been coming up on my Twitter feed quite a bit, and I remember first discovering Swan and looking at the brand and just thinking, yeah, Bitcoin only is great, but it's like I didn't trust it at the start, and then they grew in prominence in their brand, and I guess they've spoken to so many people. They've got a huge team of marketers, a bunch of people that are involved, and yeah, it's a Bitcoin only wrapper. But then there's just the underneath it, the money management aspect. They're not handling it. It's just, and so it's fiat mindset within this Bitcoin thing, and it was supposed to be what it was supposed to be, and it fell short. That's the way I feel about it.
Gunning for the IPO is definitely a fiat mindset, right? Like,
yeah.
Good luck to Corey and making his money, but did he not make enough money, like being a seed investor in OpenSea? Did he not make enough money working with like EOS or whoever it was back there? Why do you have to cut corners? If you've got 60 engineers on your team that came out this week, why aren't you actually building the tech that you need?
Yeah, well, it's also like when they drop, the thing is, so they got their Bitcoin and they you custody your Bitcoin after you buy it from them and however that works. But then when you start dumping stocks on the marketplace, it becomes its own pump and dump. It's just another altcoin. The stock of Swan is an altcoin. It's just, I think Grayscale have it right, but who knows? They could fuck it up as well.
You're spot on with this, Robbie. Like the tech VCs were doing pump and dumps for the last 25 years. Crypto just made it cheaper. That
Magnitudes. Are you kidding me? Magnitudes cheaper.
And who are the biggest pump and dumpers? Right, it's like A16Z, who are like one of the most prominent Silicon VC funds, and
Yeah, I think what I can add to this is, all right, so look, I think there's a certain aspect of, for whatever reason, and again, I'm not going to call it lying, okay, because it's not lying. It's really just not providing information forthright. Like essentially it seems to be, from what I'm seeing, I'm seeing a lot of reactionary behavior that's coming out from Swan. But the other thing is this, right? It's kind of like it's an announcement of something that they plan to do, but that they're not 100% sure that
shitcoin.
Yeah, that they're going to do it. So look, I mean, look, to be as objective as I can, right? It's to say, okay, you know what? At least they're making a pivot, and they recognize that possibly, this move is like the right, at least a better decision. I've heard some arguments against the vertical integration, right? Like River does. So we're actually going to be having Alex Leishman, the CEO of River Financial, next week, and I'm going to ask him. I mean, obviously they use a different model.
I want to say
right?
Cash App are vertically integrated as well, aren't they?
Yeah. And so, but I keep seeing that I keep seeing from either Corey or Brady or Yan, and I'm not sure who exactly, but one of them keeps explaining that vertical integration is a bad practice. And in all honesty, I don't really know any better, whether it is or it isn't. Like, I haven't done heavy research into this, but I will say this though. If you're gonna brand as a Bitcoin only company, like, I get that customers can only get Bitcoin from you, but it's still a wrapper for all the shit coins. It still is that, right? And it's still a custodian, and there was still some perceived very shady stuff going on in the background where, people's funds that were there, where, if you didn't answer the question in time, your funds were automatically moved to another custodian. So that, anyways, it's just it's a bad situation altogether. And like, I know that they're trying to navigate it as best they can, but like, I don't know, it's not looking so good.
It appears that the way I'm looking at it, intentions are good from the start, but then something happens down in the root core, and back to what I was saying earlier. But I think over the next 10, 15, 20 years, the new generations, the kids that are going to be born tomorrow, are the kids that are going to come in with the right mindset on managing risk, because we're still using fiat concepts in a new world. And really, we're still, what people that are older, that are running some of these exchanges, hedge funds and whatnot, they've got that academic mindset and an economist mindset, which you need to change the whole thing if you want to pivot technology and protocols and what money is and how people use and interact with each other in commerce.
Right, kind of the point of Bitcoin is that it doesn't need custodians and intermediaries, and so unsurprisingly, there aren't many ways to actually make money doing that in Bitcoin, right? Like, that you could argue there's only kind of, there's only a couple of things that actually make money in Bitcoin. There's mining, there's producing signing devices,
that's on,
and then I guess kind of other kind of like cultural artistic things, but like it then starts getting kind of niche, like what, like mining accessories, like 3D printing stuff, like node cases, like but there aren't many many businesses in Bitcoin that models that make money, because ultimately the kind of fees on exchanges get squeezed over time. Like, it's not in the interest of individuals buying and selling Bitcoin to be paying fees to some centralized coordinator of the exchange, right? I think there's increasing push for peer-to-peer, and yeah, okay, there's fees on that, right? But then there's then you're also getting, you know, KYC free Bitcoin potentially, and you know, what's the premium on your privacy, etc., etc.
Well, you know what I'd add to that as well is that when you have that whatever they've cooked up right there, at some point, the Bitcoin exchanges aren't going to exist because everyone's going to use Bitcoin. And if you build this empire of an exchange that's on an IPO and it's worth billions of dollars on the NASDAQ or whatever it looks like, well, how are you going to be? You're not going to be financially invested to end it. You're not going to just kill your golden goose when no one needs exchanges anymore. So it just leads us down the path of a centralized, the bullshit again, all the gold shit, how gold was co-opted could happen again in this exchange space. You know, we'll see that in the future, I guess, however decades that is, you know?
Yeah, very well said.
I think so. I've got two more things for Rekt. What the first one is a very brief one. Basically, anyone who didn't come to TABconf last week, Rekt, you should be there next year. It's the most pleb conference.
Your co-host, bud.
It's a not. I took a week off to MC. My bad. But
You're shaming me. You're shaming me, dude.
No, I'm not shaming you. I'm talking about all the plebs. No, seriously. Like, if you want to actually, like, if you believe in the pleb movement rather than corporate Bitcoin wankers, like, then actually, like, you should go to TABconf because it isn't the one that's got all the shitcoiners there. There is real education to be there. You can go talk to all the developers. There's good parties. There's very good parties. There's a bunch of poker. Like, there's a bunch of free drinks. What else? Oh, and it's not for profit, right? So all the money that goes into it from the sponsors and the tickets gets spent on the conference. It's not going to, like, bribe the Port Authority to get Safedean's books through or some bullshit, Mike Germano. Like, you know, like, there is, you know, real value there. You're essentially having your tickets sponsor. You know, the price of your ticket is subsidized by the sponsors rather than the sponsors buying comfy seats for wankers. Like, it really does go, like, really far. And I think if more plebs actually want to contribute to Bitcoin, then one way they can do it is by going to the events that are more pleb Bitcoin and not so corporate Bitcoin. You know, Robbie said put your money where your mouth is. Well, you need to do that not just in terms of, like, your investments, but also in terms of the types of events you're going to, the types of people you're platforming with your money, shall we say. Now, my final thing for Rekt this week, I want to look at a tweet. It's actually one of my tweets. It's not me that's Rekt. It's unfortunately the whole of Canada, because Trudeau is a communist. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, I put it in quotations, but it's my paraphrase. If companies can't afford to cut prices on food, this is a terrible tweet. If companies can't afford to cut prices on food prices, come on, dude, then we'll tax them more. But the point that essentially Trudeau said that they're going to try and get all of the food producers to kind of come into the government, and they're going to try and broker some deal that basically makes food more affordable for Canadians, and which basically means they're going to try and bully them into cutting prices. And he said, yeah, if they don't, then they'll tax them more. I'm firing my proof editor for Twitter, by the way.
Okay, so hold on a second. I gotta jump in on this Trudeau thing because I watched the whole ridiculous speech. As people know, I am Canadian.
And you're actually a refugee from Canada, is that right, Phil?
That's right. I'm a Canadian living in America, and all I could say is this. Okay, so I watched that entire video, and in all honesty, what scared me the most was the absolute delusion that he's spreading. And if you listened closely, right, he specifically said that grocers are having record profits. Okay, so essentially what he's doing is trying to shift the blame away from government incompetence and greed and pointing the finger at the grocers. So he's not explaining the cost of raw materials has gone up, right? He's essentially extracted out everything of value and left everybody with this bullshit story that, hey,
Wait,
look,
are you saying politicians gaslight people about inflation, Phil? That's
of
new
course.
to me.
I know, no, but it's just, it's like the utter delusion, the fact that people were clapping, they have to be paid. I mean, I'm sorry, man, you're getting paid to clap. There's not a chance that anybody supports that shit.
It's the new religion. People believe in
of poverty.
Their government is going to look after them. It's ever loving and caring for their well-being and their future needs and blah blah blah, and you know.
Yeah.
Fucking wankers, man. Like, all right. Anyway, fuck shit coins. This was REKT.
The Hopium. The Hopium is brought to you by Crypto Cloaks. Check them out. CryptoCloaks.com. Awesome 3D prints by Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. Like the 3D printed hand grenade. Absolutely awesome. Use the code PlebUnderground and get a 5% discount. Get the bigger one, and you can fit a full signing device. The smaller one fits 2 open dimes. Check them out at CryptoCloaks.com. Guys, while some people are selling you the gloom and doom and telling you that everything is over, we here at Pleb Underground on the Hopium segment are here to paint a different picture for you. Anyways, let's get it started. All right, updates on the ETFs. Franklin Templeton enters spot Bitcoin ETF race. Oh my gosh, what a surprise. Another giant legacy financial institution is filing for a spot Bitcoin ETF. But wait, there's more. So it looks like David Marcus, who is I think he's the CEO of Lightspark. Anyways, he was on Squawk Box, and let's take a look at this tweet from BTC Gandalf. 2 things about this video got him fired up. The former president of PayPal and creator of the Libra project at Meta is focusing his time and energy on Bitcoin and Lightning. And number 2, conversation about Lightning is being had on mainstream media. And we're just going to check out 1 minute of this clip. Okay, here we go.
So we were just saying the state of fintech and the state of payments and where we really are. You're working on a new project. I shouldn't even say a new project, but a project around the Lightning Network, which is aimed at basically taking Bitcoin. You can explain it better than I can. Effectively, you take it off chain and then put it back on chain to make these transactions faster.
Yes, actually what we're trying to do is turn Bitcoin into a real payment, global payment network, because we have many tourists walking right outside of the studio right now. If you were to stop one of them and wanting to communicate with them, you could ask them for an email address and you can email them easily the next minute. You could text them, you could add them to a group video chat, you can do all of these things. But if you were to send them money, if they were not a US citizen here in the US using one of the same fintech apps you're using, then you wouldn't be able to do that. And so we're still in the fax era of global payments, and that's what we're attempting to solve.
Right. Well,
the fax. Pay special attention to that. The fax era of global payments. Anyways.
Yeah, fuck this guy, but I'll comment further at the end.
No, of course, obviously. Obviously. But Walton, it's the Hopium section. Let people have the Hopium, okay? Before you shit on their dreams. All right, following on that Hopium, here we go. Brian Armstrong. The team did a great job digging into this several years later. And we've made the decision painfully to integrate Lightning. I'm adding my own commentary. I apologize, guys. Bitcoin is the most, he did not say painfully, I just added that. Bitcoin is the most important asset in crypto. It is the only one that matters because there's Bitcoin and there's shitcoins, right? Anyways, and we're excited to do our part to enable faster, cheaper Bitcoin transactions. Will take some time to integrate, so please be patient. So you know what that means, guys. They're never integrating that. That's just, listen, it's the bear market. People are upset. Most likely I'm sure there's tons of people that are holding bags of absolute dog shit on Coinbase, and they're wrecked, right? And so this, right, he gets to sit here and say, hey, look, guys, it's all good. It's all good. We're going to work on Bitcoin. That's what we're going to do. We're going to work on Bitcoin. Yeah, that's right. After you wrecked a whole bunch of people, took all kinds of fees for them trading shitcoins that were never going anywhere, now you can sit there and talk about how you're going to help Bitcoin out. Anyways, not done yet. There's still more Hopium to come. This might be, I think, the ultimate Hopium, okay? And this is something I've never really, I actually haven't seen this before, so I'm excited to discuss this with you guys. So here we go. This is from the account. It's a trading account, okay? The Scalping Pro Mags, and here we go. Last chance to buy Bitcoin cheap? Question mark. Every time the Gaussian channel flips, and just quickly, what is
wait? There's a typo. It's Gaussian, like it's after the
Gaussian?
mathematician Gauss. Like there's a massive typo. Like he's put the U like.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, the
I
A.
was
Like this
wondering when
guy. I mean, that's not a good start. That's not a good start.
Not a good start to typo. Absolutely. Twitter will never forgive that account for having a typo, especially on Twitter. All right. So what is the Gaussian channel indicator? Gaussian channel indicator is a technical indicator which defines price trends in the financial markets by minimizing the lag. The indicator is attributed to Carl Friedrich Gauss, one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. While Gauss did not have access to modern statistical software, nor did he intend to trade commodities, his statistical models have proved extremely helpful in interpreting price movements in financial markets. So if that doesn't get you super excited, maybe this will. Here we go. Every time the Gaussian channel flips green, we've observed a healthy pullback in Bitcoin price, followed by up only. The dips after Gaussian channel turns green has been one of the best times to buy Bitcoin cheap. In 2015, there was a 30% pullback. In 2019, a 50% pullback. 2023, we had a 21% pullback. Should we wait for a 50% pullback? What we're witnessing currently is more like 2016. The reason we saw a deeper retracement in 2019 was because of the rapid price surge of BTC by 330% without any significant pullback. Since the current bottom, 15,500, Bitcoin went up by 104% with several -20 and -30% pullbacks and a slow grind up, which looks healthy and similar to 2016. While no one has a magic ball for nailing the exact bottoms of these pullbacks, the pattern emerging are telling us that it might be one of the best times to DCA into Bitcoin. And if we take a look, at these channels, right, supposedly we are entering this green channel. And if history repeats itself, this is why it's
Hopium.
Hopium.
Misspell on there as well, all over the thing.
He misspelled everywhere. He totally misspelled everywhere.
What I like
Saying-
though
It's
is
still Hopium.
if you go back on the top, it shows like on the guy's profile that, you know, once you're ready to do your trading, immediately in his profile you can see he's got his Bybit reference link, so you can go do your leverage trading. I believe Bybit actually do Bitcoin settled derivatives and options actually. So if you you can go lose all your Bitcoin.
That's right. It's a trading account, and that's why it's giving us this Hopium, right? It's engaging. It wants the engagement, but we are using its chart to provide the Hopium. Anyways, the last story in Hopium brought to us by Walton, right? It's kind of like the Hopium of LARPs. this whole segment, the Hopium of LARPs. Maybe it's time to scrap banks. Could Bitcoin fix this? And I'm pretty sure he's fairly educated, and I don't know why.
It's like you're collecting people who are bad at the English language in different ways. So like this guy can't do punctuation or like paragraphs properly. The last guy couldn't do spelling. Like
right. This is my theme, dude. It's my theme this week, and I'm just finishing this up, and then we could talk about it. Okay. So look, what is he referring to? And Robbie, you might have some insight on this, but Australia at breakneck speed, now to remove physical cash, as yet another bank announces it will scrap cash, checks, and phone payments. And here we go. Macquarie Bank branches to scrap cash, check, and phone payment services. So that rap you had at the beginning about CBDCs.
Yeah.
Exactly right, my friend. You know?
Australia's crazy with Commonwealth Bank, ANZ, NAB, Macquarie Bank, Westpac might be next. It's just breakneck speeds. They reckon 75% of Australians are barely using cash, and their justification for it is because cash creates some form of a pain trigger in the brain, and tapping, you don't get that. You don't get no pain trigger in the brain. It's just gaslighting 101. I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm thinking, well, listen, Nando's, I'm not sure if you guys have Nando's over there, but Nando's
is awesome, dude. Yeah, big up Nando's.
Not anymore. because they're not accepting cash. I go in and make my order and I'm willing to pay cash. It's legal fucking tender and they're refusing it. And at this point, I feel like going
legal tender means though? Legal tender is actually just the ability to pay debts with it. It doesn't mean they have to accept payment for it for like the thing in advance or like there's it's slightly complicated. But anyway, yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit well, I agree with you on that.
They layer it up, don't they? Regardless, yeah. So I guess they can get by saying we're not accepting that, but it's just frustrating because surcharges on the debit cards, and in Australia we got FPOS as well, which runs parallel to debit. So if you can use the FPOS system, which is within Australia and New Zealand, or if you go into the debit system, then you're on the Visa MasterCard network, and then the banks can leverage fees on the interchangeables on that. And I reckon that once they remove the cash, FPOS is going to be gone. And then you're going to have people, the elderly, like just walking out of stores, not paying for stuff in peaceful protest.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't realize that it was so intertwined like that, all these different networks. I mean, I know that, there's like in Canada, right? There's the Interac network, which in the States, if you try to use that, like the system just barfs. It's like, nope, you're not getting away with that. You're not getting away with that at all. So Walton, man,
Permissioned networks, Phil?
Sorry?
Permissioned networks,
Right? The moats.
Yeah.
They love their moats, man. They love their moats and their little kingdoms. So Walton, hit this up, man. You were itching. What's going on, David Marcus? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, look at those eyebrows. Don't trust him. Like,
Don't trust the eyebrows.
But ignoring like bad physiognomy. Let's go with the fact that this guy's a PayPal guy, right? Like, so he's very much TradFi. And he's also a Tech Bro IPO winner. What else? How much is the minimum like subscription for Lightspark? I believe it's like $1,500 a month. So if you want to run a Lightning node, there's no fucking way you're making $1,500 a month like routing. Like, oh, dude, like they're the most expensive Lightning service provider by a fucking mile. Go use Voltage if you actually want a Lightning service provider. Go use Voltage. But like these guys, it's like, oh, we're making something that's actually useful. No, you're basically building Wallet of Satoshi for like Goldman Sachs bankers. Like you're not build like I don't understand who the use, or it's meant to be. Maybe they're trying to pitch to the giant retailers, right? They're going, look, well, national retailers, maybe they're trying to get them to integrate Lightning, maybe. But like again, we talked about this, right? This is a narrative I've been saying for a year. How does institutional adoption of Bitcoin happen? It doesn't happen from the companies putting the money on their balance sheets. It comes from businesses, TradFi, VCs investing in companies and services and products in and around Bitcoin and Lightning. Often more the services. More the business to business services, because that's where those margins are. That's where you can charge silly money. Why? Because you're doing, to me, a slightly disgusting thing, but you could argue a clever thing of both leveraging Bitcoin, but also going after that Cantillon money and taking the cut in Bitcoin. Like,
Kind of sounds like a hand in two cookie jars.
They're gonna burn in hell, quite frankly, I think. But like, each to their own.
So they're frenemies. He's a frenemy of Bitcoin.
He's corporate Bitcoin. He can go fuck himself.
Exactly. All right. So what were your thoughts on the Gaussian channel?
Yeah, I mean the guy can't spell. Is like, it's just a horrible like. So I mean the guy, again, it's just like traders always post bullshit. Like they're actually, I think, often trying to like create a group that they can then trade against, right? They have these Telegram groups. They're trying to have like a combined opinion. If you've got like a mass that they can be your partner in a trade, and you can go the other way on them, essentially, and tell them to buy your position. Like there's some disgusting things that these guys do. Like you can kind of create your own market to go the other way, so you can short into them going long and vice versa.
It accelerates it. It accelerates the chaos because then people get into it, and then it stains Bitcoin. It makes people look, oh well, I don't want to get involved in Bitcoin because that scam that happened. Yeah,
exactly.
You know what? It's really crazy. Some people even made up TV shows so that they could create, they could capture an audience so that they would then have liquidity that they could dump to. I don't know if you guys saw the crypto scam. The crypto gem show.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the guy that got fired from his own show because he was too fat or something like that. Wait.
And the killer whales one? No, did you? I mean, did you see?
Oh
this?
no,
So
I did see that. Like the thing that NVK posted that's like, it's like I bet Leia's crying somewhere in a cupboard, like because it's like they like upped her show. It's like we're like Dragons Den. Wait, what's it called? You guys call it Shark Tank? Shark Tank of crypto. We're gonna inside trade all over your asses and then tell you to fuck off and not give you any money. Like it's a real bunch of bullshit with some lighting in a basement. Like
I saw it. I saw it.
Debasement in debasement is what they should have called the show. Anyway, fuckshitcoins.com. Please like and subscribe. Phil, lead us out.
That's right, guys. You got it. That wraps up this week's episode of Pleb Underground. And before we wrap it up, Robbie P, where can the viewers and listeners find you? How can they find you?
I'd say go to bitcoinslang.com. It's a Substack. Sign up to the mailing list. I'm going to get it more active. We're just setting things up, getting, I've got a few other individuals for the podcast to get involved in. Robbiep808, Robbiep808x on Twitter, Instagram. And that's that. Just sign up to the mailing list, because if for some reason we get canceled on my Instagram, on my YouTube, at least I got your email. I can reach out and be like, this is where we're at now on Rumble or whatever it might look like. Because you know what these social media platforms are like. They don't. TikTok is already shadow banning anything that I post about Bitcoin. I get financial advisory stickers when I'm talking about Bitcoin. It's kind of like, what is that? Financial advisory sticker to say, be wary of financial investment advice. And it's a song. It's a song. Rappers are talking about flashing money and spending it on crystal and jewelry and all the rest of it. Is that not financial advice from a Fiat rapper? Bad financial advice.
We are going to have. Oh, sorry.
I'll just say I'll leave it there. Bitcoinslang.com. Check me out. Thank you.
All right, cool. We're going to have all of that info in the show notes. And guys, don't forget to check us out on our audio only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. If you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. You could stream us sats through Breeze. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Help us grow the channel. Help us fight the evil YouTube algorithm. And we will catch you all next week.
More toxic than the most toxic Bitcoin maxi ever.